What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of HermitPack on the HermitCraft server. Oh yeah, guys, so last episode, we set up this crazy set of machines behind us. Well, it's not that crazy, but it is a nice setup here that's turning cobblestone into gunpowder. Yep, that's pretty awesome. So yeah, down below the storage drawer behind me, we have an Extra Utilities 2 Cobblestone Generator. We've seen Cobblestone Generators from Extra Utilities in the past, but it is slightly different, but it's kind of the same. So anyway, if you want to see how that's set up, you can check out last episode. We're taking the cobblestone, we're sending it over into this crusher. The crusher is crushing this down and turning it into flint. I'm sorry, turning it into gravel. And right next door, we're taking that gravel, putting the auto crafter. 3 of those get auto crafted into flint. So yes, we have a supply of flint here. We're taking the flint, putting it over into yet one more crusher, and we're crushing that down into gunpowder. So this is kind of where we stopped. We're putting the gunpowder over into this chemical injection chamber, but we really can't do anything with it right now. So pretty much what we need to do is take gunpowder and mix it with hydrogen chloride to get sulfur out of the chemical injection chamber. So hydrogen chloride is kind of where we're at right now. But with the sulfur, we can take the sulfur, put it with a chemical oxidizer, and we get sulfur dioxide. Sulfur dioxide plus oxygen and a chemical infuser will give us sulfur trioxide. Water and a rotary condensator, I think is how that's called, will give us water vapor. So water vapor plus the sulfur trioxide and a chemical infuser will give us sulfuric acid. The reason we want sulfuric acid is because we want to take something like osmium ore and put it into the chemical dissolution chamber with sulfuric acid, and that'll give us an osmium slurry, and that's how we get to the 5 times ore processing, or at least the very start of it. So it's a lot of work to kind of get to this point. We got the gunpowder situation handled, but yeah, now we need to get ourselves some hydrogen chloride to go into the chemical injection chamber with that gunpowder to make sulfur, right? So I think that I saw a little bit ago is that we can use salt, just regular table salt. We can get salt from Pam's Harvest Craft, from this cooking with blockheads mod, if we wanted to do it this way. Yeah, since we have the kitchen sink here, this is always a source of water. So water in your crafting grid makes fresh water in here with a bowl, I think, makes salt with a pot. One of these guys over here, can I take the pot out and show you? Those two, yeah, that makes salt. Okay, so since we have all these tools available, this mod, Cooking for Blockheads, knows how to make salt right away all the time. Okay, so now we can get salt, so we can just tell it to make a stack. Oh, stack plus 1. Okay, so we can take the salt that we have here and put that right into our chemical injection chamber with gunpowder, and you can see we already got a little bit done here, and that will in fact make us sulfur. So that's one way to do it, but you can see right here this is hydrogen chloride. Yeah, we want to get the gas. We want to just pipe gas in there. The salt, you can see, that went away really fast. We had over a stack of it and didn't even process one piece of sulfur. So that's not going to work. Yeah, we need a steady supply of the hydrogen chloride. Okay, so that is the next thing. So another way to get hydrogen chloride, or that that gas that we need, is from brine in, I think it's what's the name of it called? The thermal evaporation plant is what we need to make. Yeah. I had to pull out my notes. I didn't have them available. So pretty much it's a multi-block structure that we need. It's a 4x4 base, so it takes up a decent amount of room. And you can build it anywhere from like 1 to 16 blocks tall in the center, and then you have to put like solar panels on top. It's quite the multi-block structure. I've never seen one built yet, but yeah, we're going to go ahead and build one. I think we're going to use our auto crafting system here to help us out a little bit. So we need thermal evaporator blocks. So let's go ahead and make some of these. These seem like the most common component for this. So it looks like we need steel. Which one do we want? Maybe this one? Okay, so we'll go ahead and tell it this. Should we say or dictionary? Is that or dictionary? I don't know if I have to make a different one. Let's make another one. Does that show it's any different? Uses or dictionary. This one. Okay, so this one didn't work. So we can say uses or dictionary just in case the steel or the copper that we have is incorrect. So this is the pattern that we want. So we can just stick it in one of these things. It doesn't really matter. We'll put it right in here. Okay, so now we can make a bunch of those thermal evaporation blocks. Now, I don't really know how many we need, but probably 64 is going to be enough. But as you can see here, we are in fact missing steel. Now, steel is an item that we can get pretty fast from Mekanism. So what we need to do is take some iron and some coal, and that's literally it. One piece of iron, or I guess 1 stack of iron, 2 stacks of coal in our metallurgic infuser over here. So we can just add that in here, add that in there. It's going to process into enriched iron. Once this is done, we can take the enriched iron out, put it back in the metallurgic infuser with another stack of coal, and that'll turn into steel dust. Then we just need to smelt that. I really should get to the point where we have this stuff like completely automated, so we can just say, hey, make steel, and I'll dump the items in there. I haven't done that yet, but doing this really isn't that big of a deal. But as you can see, it does take a bit of time just to process that stack. I do believe this machine right here does have the 8 times speed upgrades and the energy upgrades as well. This is using 200 RF per tick. It's not that bad, but it just takes time for this to process. So let's go ahead and wait for that to get done. I'll go ahead and make all the steel, smelt it up, and we will continue on from there. Alright guys, well I went ahead and I made up a bunch of these thermal evaporation blocks. We made 2 thermal evaporation valves and then a thermal evaporation controller. So the valve and the controller aren't that bad. You just need these advanced control circuits, which is a basic circuit, and 2 of the enriched alloy. The basic one is osmium and redstone. We already had some of those already pre-made, so that wasn't so bad. And then for the controller, you need a bucket and then yellow, or I guess a glass pane, not yellow. And then 2 of these more advanced control circuits. So now we ended up with a odd number of these thermal evaporation blocks, but I think that's going to be fine since we're going to have the thermal evaporator controller in there and these 2 valves in order to do what we need to do. In fact, you can put in 3 valves, I believe, if you want to get lithium out, I think is another thing. But anyway, I'm trying to figure out where we're going to put this because we do have to put solar panels on top, which means it needs to be outside. I'm thinking we're going to stick it right here, though. We have a nice flat spot. It needs to be 4x4, so we have enough room here, I do believe, for it. And what also is nice, if we hit E and go to the map here, you can see that we got 2 claimed chunks right here. This is right above where our current work area is, so this is right where we need to be anyway. So straight down would be where our machines are inside the base. Yeah, so our base kind of like wraps around here and comes over here. So we should be able to find a way to pipe that down and keep like all the pipes hidden in the walls or something like that. I think it'll be just fine to get that, yeah, the brine or the sodium chloride or whatever. I can't keep these things straight anymore. But anyway, let's go ahead and start building this thing. So it needs to be a 4x4 base. So there is 4x4. A little bit of lag when we're placing those blocks. I don't know why. Okay, and I think you have to do a hollow ring like this along the outside. So I might even need to make more of these blocks, but I believe you only need to make 1 hollow ring total just to get the multi-block structure to work. Yeah, I believe that it said you can make this 15 more layers. So like this hollow one could be a total of 16 layers tall. And the more layers you have, the more heat it generates. And I guess the more heat it has, the faster it makes the stuff. I think that's how that works. Not an expert in the mod, still learning it, as you can probably tell. So we'll probably end up putting a few rings on here. I don't know if we're going to do a full 16 or not, but we also have to put a few solar panels on top of this, and I have not gone to make those just yet. So that's going to be the next thing we're going to make. But yeah, I think right here, it just kind of makes sense having our thermal evaporator here for making the brine, and then yeah, then we can send that down and process it inside the base. So yeah, let me continue doing a little bit more work here. I'll get the solar panels. We'll make this full multi-block structure. I guess we'll put like the valves on the side here, something like this. I don't know if we can put them here, if they have to be down here on this base or whatever. I'll figure it all out. We'll get it going and we'll be right back, guys. All right, guys. Well, there is our solar evaporator. So this thing is, or I'm sorry, thermal evaporator, solar evaporator, whatever. This thing is 10 blocks tall. So this is what it's looking like right now. It is hollow all the way to the very top in the center. Yeah, originally it wasn't very clear in the instructions, and I guess I should have looked at the picture, but I originally had this thing filled completely in the very top layer, but no, you're not. You're supposed to leave it completely open so you can see down in there, right? So then we made 4 of these advanced solar generators. These make 240 RF per tick each. Yeah, Yep, so that's like that. I have two valves right here, but we'll probably move those later. And then the thermal evaporator controller down here on the bottom so we can see what's going on. So we can see the temperature is now 275 degrees Celsius, which is pretty hot. I don't know if left unchecked if this thing will blow up or if it melts down or whatever. I guess it's going to go all the way up to 1000 C. That's my guess. I honestly don't know. This looks like the progress bar of where the temperature's at. So we can pipe in water into one of these valves. And I'm trying to figure out where we want to do that. I think we're going to pull out the brine and go down here. Let me go ahead and remove this guy. I don't know if that completely ruins how much temperature we've already collected or not. No, well, yeah, it might have. I don't know. We're at 309. I guess it did not do that. So let's go ahead and let's take this block right here. Let's put that as a valve. I think you can do this. By the way, you get the red particles everywhere when the multi-block structure is complete. So that's the thing. So we'll put, I guess, a reservoir right like that. Yep, and that should be able to pipe in the fluid. If it doesn't, I did make myself liquid, or I guess fluid transfer node with another mining upgrade and then some pipes so we could pipe it in. I wasn't sure which way this is going to work, so I made enough for a couple different methods. We need a bucket. Oh, you know what? I used the last of my buckets making, making that reservoir. I think it's a bucket per craft or a cauldron. I don't know. I used a bucket for something. Maybe it's for the transfer node. Okay, well, anyway, let's go and make another bucket or two. We'll grab some water. We will fill up our reservoir, and we'll see if that thing works. I think it should, but I don't know how long it takes for the thermal evaporator to work. Did I not get two buckets or just one? Do that. Okay, there we go. All right, so we'll put in water here and here. I'm gonna have to call my internet company again. My internet's really starting to lag a lot later in the afternoon, and it hasn't done that for a while. In fact, I think the last time it was doing that was when we were doing our Feed the Beast Infinity playthrough. Yeah, and we got it working after that. I think that was around the point where I started using a VPN, but then it started working better after that. Yeah, I hadn't had to use a VPN to connect to my to the Minecraft server for a long time, so I don't know what the deal is. I'm gonna have to contact them and see what's up. We needed a wrench here. I guess we have one right like that. So if I do that action, yeah, it looks like that's piping it in. And there's our brine. So brine is happening. Cool. So that's making it decently fast. I don't know how fast we actually need this stuff, but cool. Finally figured out a brand new machine, or I guess a multi-block structure thing from Mekanism. We can also make this bigger. Like I said, this is 10 blocks high. So we can make it another 6 blocks higher, and I think that makes the temperature go up faster, or maybe the highest, the total temperature can go up higher. I'm not sure what the difference is. Okay, so we can go Fahrenheit, RF, STP. I don't know what all these different units are. Kelvin, maybe? I'm not sure. Anyway, so we'll let this brine cook up. I'll figure out what our next step is, and we will continue on, guys. All right, guys. Well, I figured we would kind of do some of this together. There's a lot of things in Mekanism that are confusing me. Like when you want to get hydrogen, you have to pump water, and you get, in the electrolytic separator, you get both oxygen and hydrogen, right? Which side is which? I don't know. And then also when we pump brine into one of these things, we're going to need to get the chlorine away from, is it sodium? I can't remember what the other item is that we're going to be getting. So anyway, we need to get both of those separated, and we got to put it into this chemical infuser. Oh, you know what? I did forget. We're going to need a second one of these machines. If we need to separate two different gases, let's go ahead and make a second one. There we go. Auto crafting for the win. Okay, so we got those things. So we need to do something like, oh, I don't know, place one of these down here, the chemical infuser, and then one of these down here. Now, the problem is if we pipe water into here, do we get oxygen out this side or hydrogen out that side? We want hydrogen going towards the chemical infuser, and I don't know what we're going to do with the oxygen. Probably just delete it or whatever. I wish there was a way we could swap these tanks and make it so one goes out one side and one goes out the other side. If it's the wrong way, I don't know if there is a way to do that or not. But anyway, we're going to try and figure this out together, like I said. So this pipe right here, this is a basic mechanical pipe. This goes upstairs to our, what is it called? Our solar evaporation plant. Yeah. Anyway, that goes up there. This is going to be extracting out brine as soon as we configure the pipe to do so. So that needs to go into one of these electric separators. So let's go ahead and get one of these things hooked up. So these have 3 different inputs, it looks like. So I assume actually, if we set this like this, it's probably the input, then we get the gases out the sides, right? I think that's how that works. So we might have to turn both of these machines around. But anyway, let's go ahead and dig a hole down here. We'll get this thing hooked up and start piping some brine in there and see what we get out of it. I've never done this before, so I'm kind of interested in seeing how this is all going to work. So we'll go and connect that up. Now I don't have a way out. We'll poke another couple of holes until we find it. Let's go configure our solar evaporator up there to start pumping out the brine. Hopefully that's just a quick configuration option of this pipe. It should be. So we grab our configurator. It's in a wrench mode, but I think if you just right click without a shift, it should. No, it does not. Okay, so you gotta, how do you do this? How do you switch this thing? Is it M and then right click, shift M, right click, M right click, shift right, left click. There is a way I could get this thing to switch, and now I don't remember. So let's go into here. We'll look at mechanism configurations, I suppose, together. Mechanism right here. Item switch mode. Oh, of course, that makes sense. I must have done that myself. Shift O. Configure items, fluids, gases, energy, heat, empty, rotate, wrench. Empty? Is that what we do? Maybe we have to put this on rotate. Shift right click. Items, fluids. Let's try fluids. There it is. Okay, so now that's working. So we need to put that on extract mode. There we go. Now this is full of brine. So that should be pumping into our electrolytic separator down below. My goodness. Messing with Mekanism, like if you're not super familiar with it, is a little complicated. I'm sure it gets better like if you use the machines all the time, but here we go. So yes, now we're full of brine over here. So what I want to see is out of, I guess, whatever side this one is, we want, I believe, the chlorine to come out. Yeah. Okay. So we need to give this thing some power. So let's grab some power conduit. Hopefully we got enough to come over here. Is this, I think these are the ones we're using, the green ones. We might not have enough. Okay. Well, if we don't have enough, we'll figure that out. I guess we can just go ahead and power this from the bottom. That should be okay. Like so. Wait, which way are we going with this? I think we're going this way, right? Yes. Okay. So we'll go ahead and connect those over like this, then just bring this over somewhere. Oh, that's not a power cable. Where's our power cables? Are we really going to be one power cable shy for doing this? Dang it. Okay. Well, I guess I got to make more of those. I thought we were going to be able to do this real quickly and just check it out, make sure everything's working. But no, I was missing a power cable. Can we make one of these real quick? Is this a thing we can do? Oh, we're missing one vibrant alloy. Well, we can make one of those real fast. That isn't super difficult to do. Just grab an ender pearl. I really should get like all of these things on AutoCraft, but there's just so many things to do, and I'm not sure. Like these machines we had set up to process our ores automatically, but since we're going to be moving over to the 5X setup, this might switch over to be like our normal AutoCraft thing, so I don't know. So anyway, we can grab our vibrant alloy here and we can make our 8 more cables, and then we can connect this up and see if everything's going to work correctly. See if we have to swap that machine around. All right, so there's that. Okay, so we should have power over here now. And this is doing what? We have sodium on this side and empty on that side. It's pumping the chlorine directly in here. That's what we want. So I had this machine facing the right way the first time. Perfect. Okay, so I don't know what we're going to do with the sodium. I think we might just say dumping excess. I don't know if we need to keep this for any reason or not. There might be a reason to keep it, but we're getting it for free, so it doesn't really matter. So the chlorine is now going in here. Perfect. Okay, so now we need to separate hydrogen from water. So now we gotta get a hydrogen, or I guess a water setup going. Which way do we have this machine facing? Yeah, we probably want to turn this thing around so they're both facing the same way. I might end up turning this one around too. We'll see. Okay, so we need to get water into yeah, into the front here. So we'll bring this pipe down like so. And then I brought another reservoir here. So this should extract just the same. We'll just fill it up full of water. 1 bucket, 2 bucket. And we'll wrench this. So now we're pumping water in there. Okay, so now we got oxygen. Oh, and again, we did it right. So we got hydrogen and chlorine in here accidentally. But it's doing the thing. And we're making the hydrogen chloride, which is awesome. Okay, so that's what we want. Now we got to get that hydrogen chloride, I believe, over here into this machine. And then we should start doing some stuff. So let me get to it and we'll be back, guys. All right, guys. Well, here we go. Here's the room all cleaned up. We are now producing the hydrogen chloride, hydrogen chlorine gas. What is it stuff called? Hydrogen chloride. Yeah, so that gas is now going directly into the chemical injection chamber. And as you can see, it is keeping up rather well with this thing. We can also increase the speed on these machines. Like, they all are able to accept the speed and the energy upgrades. So we'll probably end up looking at putting some of those in here pretty soon. But yeah, with the water separating out the hydrogen. Oh, you know what? This we need to do dumping excess for the oxygen. I'm not sure what we're going to need that for. But yeah, now we should start making a little bit more hydrogen. Yeah, we would have ran out of this stuff eventually if I didn't look at that. So anyway, yeah, with both this making the hydrogen and this one over here making the chlorine, yeah, they're both able to keep up with this machine without any upgrades in any of them, which is pretty good. And also looks like we're keeping up over here as well, keeping this thing pretty well stocked. So how are we doing over on these things? Anything we should take note of? I think it has been using a bit of this, so we might have to look at speeding up our crusher over here. But eventually we're going to have a lot of the sulfur. I really don't know how much of this stuff that we need in the future. But yeah, we are going to have to infuse this into the sulfuric acid, and that's probably going to be our next step. I'm trying to think, what else do we need to do here? So we have the sulfur. So yeah, like I said, we need to put that in a chemical oxidizer to make sulfur dioxide. Maybe that's what we're going to use this oxygen for. Maybe we have to put that into the chemical oxidizer. These are things we have to research because, like I said, there's a lot of things in this mod that I just don't know. Yeah, but it's got its own fluid pipes. It's got its own gas pipe. It has its own energy pipe. I think it's got its own item transporter pipe. So yeah, there's a lot of different things in Mekanism that are pretty cool if you haven't checked out all of these different bits and pieces of it. But I think we're going to go ahead and leave it off for right here for today, guys. I'm starting to run out of recording time once again. Getting all this stuff figured out it's a lot of fun. I'm having fun like piecing together all these different puzzles, figuring out what we need to do. Unfortunately, it is looking like we're going to be running out of space. I don't know if I like having these machines right here. We might end up moving those underground, or we might end up just making a whole nother floor specifically set up for this entire process, but I don't expect we're going to have enough room in this little wing back here like I thought we were for all of this stuff. So yeah, we'll have to figure that out. But anyway, guys, that's going to do it for today. Thank you guys for watching. Remember to leave a like on the episode if you liked it, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye-bye.